everyone, Willith here. Today we'll be judging the Game of Thrones dragons on how believable they are, based on my opinion. I'm basing my opinions on the How to Dragons series. If you'd like to go see those, there'll be a link in the description. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, so first things first. I'm going to assume they're using a special bone structure for their bones, like 3D graphene or something, especially due to their size. Hollow bones or normal bones are just not going to cut it for these guys, because of their weight and size. Also, air sacs. Those would help them a great deal for their weight. I couldn't find anything lore-wise on their bone structure, or air sacs, so I'm just going to assume they have them. Their wings are just gorgeous, however they do need to be longer. Another criticism I have is that their wing membranes don't reach past their hips, or give them a secondary pair of wing fins, similar to Toothless. They need those, otherwise they will be dragged down by their hips. Now, unlike most dragons I've covered so far, they actually have tail fins for flying. However, I would make them a lot bigger and a bit more aerodynamic. Finally, they do have a beautiful barreled chest, which means they have a keel bone for their wing muscles to attach to. Another thing of note is you can see how they take off the ground. They jump into the air and flap their wings. For flying, the hardest thing about it is to get off the ground, but the way in which they do it looks a little wrong to me. I think they would do better doing a running start and slamming their tails on the ground to take off, although I think at some points in the show they do that. All in all, they're almost perfect. Like, they're just so close to being able to believably fly. So I give them a 4 out of 5. I adore their scales. They're very distinctive for these dragons. Their scales look thick and sharp. They are also just so heavily protected. The scales and the fins on their necks would make it difficult for other dragons to bite them. It's always really good when dragons have protective features on their necks, because it is one of the most vulnerable parts of their bodies. Now, from what I've researched, it seems like they're mostly fireproof, so more flavor for these scaly boys. I imagine with their scales, it would also be difficult for arrows and swords to penetrate. I mean, look at that chest. I don't think a sword's getting through that. Furthermore, I like their color scheme. They're very grim and dark in coloration. I feel like they would blend so well in a rocky landscape on the ground. While hunting, they don't need to blend in because of just how powerful they are and how easy it is for them to catch prey. They may still need the ability to blend in, however, while nesting or resting on the ground, just so they can hide from other dragons. I give them a 5 out of 5. Now, their fire breath is also very interesting. It's hot enough to melt stone, which I find to be a really cool idea. Though, from what I've researched, it's an ability that only the adults have. There's not much else to say about their magic, as I think the only magic they have is their fire breath. Though I think when you forge metal using dragon fire, it does something to it. But I've tried researching more on this, and I haven't found anything concrete. Talking more on the dragon's fire breath being able to melt stone does have some interesting implications. For instance, their scales and mouths must be really heavy on the fireproofing, as not to get, incinerated by fire that can melt stone. I feel like it's entirely possible for their scales to be able to do this naturally in some way without just saying they're magical, but I'm not entirely sure how to go about that. So I'm going to say it's part of their magic, as the show doesn't explain it. It's believable, though, that they would be able to handle breathing such hot flames. At least, I think so at any rate. Furthermore, it's a very good thing the dragons are on the edge of extinction. Otherwise, you can say goodbye to castles and cities. There'd be no defenses against these dragons. I mean, there's literally nothing you can do with them shooting flames all day long. Now, I do think they should have a limit on just how much fire they can breathe. Not just because this would help them balance them out for the people to actually survive their wrath and have a better chance against them. But realistically, it would also consume something of the dragon to breathe fire, whether that be energy, flammable chemicals, etc. In any case, their magic is quite believable, so I give them a 5 out of 5. Now, there's nothing really special about their claws, other than that they are definitely used for support rather than for any sort of combat, and for climbing ledges, I suppose. Their horns and teeth, on the other hand, are quite distinctive. Now, I was looking to see what gender the dragons are, to see if there would be sexual dimorphism. However, a quote I found said that they can basically change their genders at will. So their horns and fins are definitely not for them females. I'm actually not sure what the fins could be used for. They wouldn't really help them in flight, so I assumed they would be for sexual display, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So they seem to just be for aesthetic. Unless they're used to get more heat to control the temperatures in their bodies, but I honestly doubt that's the case, seeing as they don't really act cold-blooded. Moving on to their teeth, while they look really cool and intimidating, they're a horror mess. Like, I feel like any dentist would have a heart attack just glancing at these things. I can't think of any animals that have teeth just placed willy-nilly in their mouths. All animals always have a structure to them. Honestly, I feel like these dragons should have teeth similar to that of T-Rex. Teeth designed for crushing bone. Although maybe their teeth are like this to better help them catch struggling prey. If so, their teeth are still a mess. So, with all that being said, I give them a 4 out of 5. I really love the sound effects for these dragons. They're unique and they just sound amazing. They're also just animated beautifully. I love watching them. Game of Thrones dragons really make me wish dragons were real, just because they would just be such beautiful creatures. A lot of love and care went into their design, and I think it really shows. I usually judge their environments, but I don't think we know what their natural environment actually is. Based on their scales, I would like to say mountains and rocky landscapes, but who knows. All in all, I give them a 5 out of 5. In conclusion, the Game of Thrones dragons get a 23 out of 25 believability. They are some of the most iconic and well-made dragons in cinema. They command a sense of awe and respect when on screen. They really show the power of a dragon, what dragons could be like if they were real. Their absolute devastating power and grace. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe. Until then guys, see you next time. I think they would be better wrong one. Not just because this would help them balance, wait, what? Whether that be energy, oh my gosh.